Hello, hello, hello. Nice to see you all again. This is me, Ben Calder, for the Bowen Therapy Professional Association, the BTPA here in the UK. I've got a really interesting interview for you today. I know I say that every time, but every time I'm always excited to share. And today we're going to be speaking to Croatian Bowen practitioner and teacher Ozana Pope-Gajic. So she is essentially the mastermind behind the Zagreb conference that's going to be taking place the 3rd and 24th of May in 2026. And Ozana, going back almost 30 years as a physiotherapist, a teacher of physiotherapist, started training in Bowen in 2008 and almost instantly shifted 99% of her practice into Bowen technique, which is an incredible story in itself to hear. And then how things shifted for her. She started teaching Bowen in Croatia, and the development of Bowen schools in Croatia. You wait until you hear what they're doing over there. It puts us a little bit to shame here in the UK. So very, very impressive, very exciting. We're going to talk about the conference in Zagreb next year as well. And yeah, it's an exciting interview. So, but before we get into it, like and subscribe, please hit those funny buttons. You know that it helps us, and it also helps us to spread Bowen technique out into the world even more. So we look forward to helping more and more people as time goes on with this wonderful modality that is Bowen technique. But that's enough of me. Let's start speaking to Ozana. Ozana, thank you so much for joining me from Croatia today. It's lovely to have you here on the podcast.
Hello, Ben, and thank you for inviting me for this podcast. I'm really grateful for this conversation and happy that we will talk soon.
Yeah, thank you. Do you know, when I was speaking to Graham Pennington on the interview that he and I did recently, where we're starting to discuss the Zagreb conference that's going to be taking place in May next year, I was really surprised when he said to me that Croatia has a really big Bowen technique community. And
Yes, we have.
I kind of feel a little bit sad that I didn't know that. So it's beautiful to now be able to make a little bit more of a formal connection with that side of our colleagues as well. So again, we really appreciate you taking the time today.
Yes, it is a large community of Bowen therapists. We recently celebrated 18th birthday of the existing of Bowen School in Croatia. First, it was Bowen School for the Healthcare Professionals, established by Aneka Lode from UK, and then it became Bowen Technique Croatia educational program, which was held and started by me. I'm Bowen therapist since 2008, and as you mentioned, Graham Pennington, I'm happy that I met him first time in 2014 in Croatia, and then we invited him to tell us more and teach us more about his great approach in Bowen, importance of symmetry. Then we met for the first time, and I learned a lot from Graham also. And he's very present in Croatia, so he's a good person to say that we are a big community with a lot of medical professionals who are doing Bowen therapy.
Amazing. I love that. And we're going to get into a little bit more of that a little bit later on. But for, I guess, what will be a fair amount of the people who listen in on the show, I would love to know a little bit about your personal history, how you got into Bowen, what led you into that. And then, I mean, you know, you're now a senior practitioner of some years of experience. You're not all that far away off having 20 years of practice under your hands, which is a really impressive thing. So I'd love to know how you got to Bowen and what it's been like for you in your practice in those last kind of 17, 18 years.
Yes. First of all, I'm physiotherapist now almost 30 years. I have experience of doing physiotherapy. And I spent 10 years of my professional career at a clinical hospital in my town. And in the same time, I was teaching in physiotherapy high school, physiotherapy professionals. So in a way, teaching And being a professional in physiotherapy and later in Bowen is something uh, I'm doing all my life, almost all my professional life, definitely. And after 10 years in at hospital and in school, I decided I would like to have my own career. I would like to open a private practice, physiotherapy private practice. So I did that 2017. I think it was a while ago. So and my first days at my private practice was very interesting. I was doing a lot of physiotherapy stuff like manipulation, exercise, massage also. And I was trying to find something that I can look a person as a whole, to approach to the person not only with for the one issue, one joint, one muscle, but I wanted to treat a patient as a whole unit, which is in my experience from the hospital, from the work at hospital was missing. And that was one day when it was like something like okay. I had a patient. She was a volleyball player, and she came to me for a treatment. And she said, "Next week I have appointment with Bowen Therapist in Zagreb, in our main city." And I said, "What? What will you have? Bowen Therapy? I never heard about it." I ask because I'm always curious about everything and I want to learn everything. I ask, what is the Bowen therapy? What will this therapist do for you? And she said he's making some small moves and then go out from the room, and then he came back and repeat the moves. And I was like, what? I didn't believe in the moment that something like that can be called a therapy, to put a hand and then go out and then put a hand on the patient again and go out. But I was very polite. I said, okay, you just continue your treatment. You have it another therapist. And I had a break afterwards. And then I look on the internet about the Bowen therapy because I wanted to read what is that, and I was surprised. I found a lot of great stories, examples of how good treatment is, what improvement patient has after the treatment. And I found it that there are a lot of schools around my country that are teaching Bowen. And I was interested, but nothing special. In every school, I was thinking, what if they are talking about in a good way about Bowen because they want to sell it, they want to have many students. And then I found one therapist. He was physiotherapist and Bowen therapist in Australia, and I thought he is really someone outside the schools and outside of everything. And I sent him a mail as a colleague. I said, please tell me in your opinion, what do you think about Bowen therapy? And he was really polite. He sent me a big response where he explained everything. And he said, the only thing that I regret about the Bowen is why I didn't learn it earlier. So that was for me a sign that this is really, really something good, and I really want to learn it. And I sent an email to the Bowen School for Healthcare Professionals in England and asked them, can I join them? I decided I will travel to England to learn. And my future teacher, mentor, and a friend, Anneke Lode, she said, if you organize a group, I can come to Croatia to teach. So I organized the group in my hometown in Osijek, and we had our first Bowen course, and it was fantastic. Then the story goes on, of course, and the love for the technique. And from the first Monday after first weekend that I learned Bowen, I was practicing only Bowen. I didn't use any other methods that I did before. So love on first sight.
Wow. I love that. That's amazing. Now, I'm kind of curious to go back a little bit. Where did your interest in physiotherapy come from? What made you decide to go into that process to begin with?
Well, I was always a person that knew that I'm born to for helping others. I wasn't sure in which way. There was a situation that I started college for veterinarian college in main town in Zagreb, main town of Croatia. And the war started, and I wanted to come back to my home place as soon as possible. And the veterinarian study was 6 years, and I was trying to find something which is shorter so I can come back home. And at those days, physiotherapy was 3 years in Croatia, and I
Mhm.
decided, okay, I will go to physiotherapy because we had the same exam for the college for veterinarian and for the physiotherapy, so it was easy. I wasn't aware what physiotherapy really is. I just knew I need to help, and I suppose it looked like we will be helping someone. So I choose that, and I wasn't wrong. Physiotherapy is a beautiful profession, and I again love it so much, and it's so wide. And I say Bowen therapy is very same as physiotherapy because you have wide range of people that you can help: newborns, elderly, sportsmen, pregnant ladies, children with disabilities. So you can help everyone. You just need to modify your work, your approach, and the way how you using your skills. And but you are in the really wide range of helping people. So it's beautiful for me.
Yeah, fabulous. And when you started to incorporate Bowen into your physio practice, you were still working at the hospital at that point as well?
No, at that point I was owner of my private practice at Govita. But we
Yeah.
have many, many physios in Croatia who are working in hospitals and polyclinics, clinics, and they are using also Bowen therapy.
I know here in the UK, it's still taking a little bit of time for us to get that integration with the mainstream medical services. So, how is Bowen received there in the kind of conventional medical space? How do the doctors and so on, how do they view it over there?
When I was starting, so we said it was many years ago, it was really something new. We didn't know much about fascia work, and everything was very uncommon in those days, also in Croatia, and I think in the rest of the countries in the Europe. So for my patients, it was a little bit strange what I was doing, but they had confidence in my decision to use this technique to help them, and soon the results were great. So it was easy in a small town when you have people with good results that the good word was sharing pretty quick among others, and they came just because they heard it's something that works and it's good. Of course, in institution is something completely different. In institutions, we are now present maybe 10 years, not more than that. But also, it was working in a way that our students are really great therapists, physiotherapists, and Bowen therapists, and they are capable to show the results and the technique, what technique is doing and how he's doing that, and they can stand and speak about it very competently. And that is important to in a smaller medical team where you work. You can express why are you doing something and what are the benefits of doing that, and they are heard in the local medical team. And of course, when we have some conferences or some health presentations to other medical professionals, then we also present the technique with some little researches or just case studies from everyday life. And also we explain why is it like that. Doctors and nurses and other healthcare professionals are really, they believe them and us, of course, and they also agree to use the approach in some conditions. Also, we have many, I think 10 or more doctors who are Bowen therapists also, which is very nice. We are grateful on that, because if they, some of them are working as a Bowen therapist, but they understand what they are better. They better understand because they finished the course, the whole course they finished, so they understand the healing mechanism of the Bowen therapy and where you can use it mostly and in in the best way, so they can prescribe it to patients, and then they can also tell other physicians, their colleagues, for this and these patients may benefit from the Bowen therapy. So I think that's the reason why we have so much. We are so integrated in standard practice in Croatia.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I absolutely love that. And I know that here in the UK, some of the resistance in the kind of the conventional medical is due to there being a lack of concrete research that they can read and look at without just observing the results that we get. And, you know, those of us that practice Bowen know that we get great results with, you know, most of our clients. It's not an understatement to say that we get a really good response. So in Croatia, has there been any research to support this? Or are the medical professionals happy to look purely at the types of results that patients are getting and then to explore how Bowen can be used in that conventional way?
When we share researches, we mostly use the research that everybody has in the world. So the big database from other researchers. We have, of course, case studies that we present to the colleagues, but lot of confidence and support the technique got from really from when they work together on one unit, and when they see the patient before and after the treatment, and physicians know that something is happened more quickly or more with better results than they were expected based on their previous experience, then they know that Bowen made the difference. So it is in a way, and I'm happy to tell that it's still in Croatia that the first thing is the benefit for the patient, and of course to be supported with the science. And we are really working on it to support Bowen as much as we can with science, because we know that it works in practice of our everyday job.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love the open-mindedness of the people there, that they're willing to look at the results and just to explore that as a possibility.
Yes, I agree. It's really something special.
Yeah, yeah. And to have more of the world just be able to look at the results without needing, I think sometimes the restriction of research because of how it needs to be conducted so it can be considered robust, I think doesn't always allow for the individuality that Bowen as a practice allows us to explore with each patient.
Yes, definitely.
And so I'm kind of curious as well, having got that physio background, you said earlier on that after that first training, that then you went straight in and, you know, from then on you were really just
After first 2 days, it was module one.
okay, so even on the first 2 days, and then you were back into your clinic and using Bowen, you know, have you since that kind of woven together your physio techniques, knowledge, experience, and the Bowen? Do you do more of a combined approach within that, or do you tend to focus more just using the Bowen work?
In the beginning, I wanted to use as much Bowen work as possible. Just Bowen work. I wanted to test it. I wanted every patient is my new teacher, to be my new teacher. Really, I was really skeptical. I have open mind, but also I need a lot of um, a lot of answers to support my things that I hope that will be. So in the beginning, I did mostly on only Bowen and lot of patients, and I thought I will not practice physiotherapy anymore because Bowen is really enough, and I still think that it could replace 99% of what I was doing before, because it is amazingly fast and wide, and the things that Bowen changes is something that not I finished many manual therapies, and I didn't saw that holistic answer to the patient and holistic style in any other manual techniques. I still believe that Bowen is really working a lot for only for itself, but it is good to have something that you can educate patient when therapeutic exercise are needed, or some preventive activities that they will help patient to not come to the stage that she was because of some repetitive injuries or something like that. So yes, with that I'm using.
I mean, that's an incredible difference of having been a mainstream physiotherapist and then 99% of the work that you're doing is now transferred over to Bowen.
Yes.
And I know that you're not the only
Mhm.
physiotherapist within this space. I know here in the UK, just down the road from me, we've got the wonderful Jan Cafaro, who is also ex physio and basically gave up nearly all physio work just to focus back into Bowen. So, I
Because
know
it,
that you're not an isolated character in that way, but it's great to hear that for you, the Bowen made so much difference that it was worth letting go of so much of your previous way of working to focus almost exclusively into Bowen technique.
yes, it takes you because there is no end in Bowen therapy, no end of learning. Also in physiotherapy, you can't stop learning. But for me, the challenge is how to make my Bowen approach great and useful for any kind of patient that opens my door and come to my clinic. And you can use the Bowen move in very, very different ways, and you can help them in the best way when you choose the right approach.
Yeah, amazing. So I'm really curious as well to hear about for you a typical kind of clinical week. I'm curious how many patients you tend to see in the clinic, what sort of things you really enjoy seeing, and have you got any areas of practice that you're really passionate about, that you really look forward to those types of patients coming in?
Now it's a little bit different than it was before. So I will describe how it was after I started to learn Bowen. It was 5 days a week. I was working 5 days a week, and I always had at least 8 patients per day. So 40 patient per week was some routine. Of course, later when the word was went out and there was more patient, and I had more and more working hours at Ergovita and more patients. So I started to work in 2 rooms to be able to work with as many as I can. And it was really nice working. Nice time for me to understand the Bowen technique more and to practice my skills. And in the same time, I was learning to become a Bowen teacher, a Bowen instructor. I was shadowing Anneke Lode on her courses in Croatia, and we agreed that after a few years it was time for me to start the educational program in Croatia, Bowen Technique Croatia. So that changed a little bit my clinical work. I started to work three days in a week in Ergovita, and Monday and Fridays were my teaching days, because during weekend we have education, and then I travel on Monday and Friday, so I wasn't able to accomplish the full week in Ergovita. School is now very, very active. I have also one colleague, Ozana Matešić, who is also physiotherapist and Bowen therapist, and he's teaching with me, and we are very busy with the school. We have almost 300 students that we taught, and yes, and a lot of courses in the schedule for now. They are beginning in my town, Osijek, Rovinj, and in Zagreb. We will have 2 groups in January. So we are very busy with the teaching, but I still work 3 days a week in at Ergovita, and I really love that work, and I will continue it through my whole career, because you can't teach if you are not in the practice. That doesn't make sense. And I love work with women and with the children. That's my passion. Throughout my career as a physiotherapist, I was also passionate about women health and working with babies, toddlers, and little children. So I'm continuing that work also in Bowen. So I see many pregnant ladies, see them when they are their babies, so new mothers, and babies mostly not only for colic. We know how colic anti-colic treatment is useful for babies with Bowen, but I also see a lot of children with development issues, and with very new problem is uh, tight tongue and the frenulum and the stuff related to that. So that's something I'm now mostly focused on that. Also, the old patients that I had from before, like someone who are with me for these 20 years that I'm practicing in Ergovita, they always come back because of mostly back pain, neck pain, migraines, and many of them have issues with allergies or bowel issues or something like that.
I mean, and it's incredible just that reinforcement of how valuable the work is when you've had people coming back to you for years and years and years. You know, it's one of my favorite things because you also get to see the journeys that these people have been on through their lives.
Yes.
And, you know, for me, it's really exciting. Like this week, there was a young man who I worked on when he was very young, and he's just had his 17th birthday. And
Nice.
so just to see the how beautifully they're growing up and how they're developing as well. So I love that part of the work. But 300 students, go Bowen, Croatia. I mean, that's incredible.
Yes.
What amazing work that you're doing there. You know, again, I'm really impressed by that. And you know, since Graham mentioned how busy you guys were, it's just like that's inspiring. And hopefully you're going to become a great model for the rest of the world about how this interaction between conventional and non-conventional medicine is so valuable. Now, I'm also curious because at some point in that career, you've then been introduced to Graham Pennington's work, to the importance of symmetry. And I'm curious how that relationship came about and then what difference that made from your point of view into your Bowen work.
So we friend of mine, Draženka Šarić-Šimić, she got information about Graham Pennington's book, and she shared this information with me. We were really interested in the subject, in the what is it written in the book, and we order it and read it, and it was something very new, because we found in that book many explanations that we didn't have in our teaching in our school. Our school was great, and Anneke really shared the knowledge from physiotherapy perspective, and we give a really good thought. But in Graham Pennington's book, there are more explanation about acupuncture, meridians, acupuncture points, meridians, and the relations that we are not used because we didn't have that knowledge in our physiotherapy learnings before. So we invited Graham to come to Croatia. So he came 2014 first time, and it was great course. It was many big group. I think around 20 people were on that course, and not only from Croatia. We always invite, and we are always happy to host people from countries all around Croatia. So we had guests from Slovenia, we had guests from Serbia, we had guests from Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, and it was very, very great course. We were in the kindergarten, so it was funny that when Graham was teaching us, and when we were surprised with all the new stuff that we heard for the first time, it was very convenient that we are in kindergarten, because something was really open to us, and then after that we grow old in the Bowen therapy. It changed a lot my work. For the first time I was able to have pre-test and post-test in a Bowen way. I used physiotherapy tests, but this was different because I was more aware of my tactile ability and to feel underneath my fingers how the tissue is changing and what we are doing to the tissue in the one treatment. Before I was waiting for the 7 days and then I would pre-test, do a test and then compare it with the last time what I did to a patient. But after IOS, I was able to do it in one treatment to be aware what I'm doing. Is it change good? Is it enough? Should I make some different decision, different move, so it will result differently on the site, so on that treatment? And that was beginning of our friendship. We were together. I was invited by Graham to Chicago Symposium in 2015, and then I met Romney Smeeton, which is really something that you, as a new Bowen therapist, you hardly believe that it's something like that is going on. And not only to meet him, but I was able to learn from Romney and Graham and the rest of the great colleagues who were there in that group. Alistair McLaughlin, Jean Dobkin, Suzanne Smeeton. She's Romney's wife. She's a great therapist also, and I learned a lot from them. And we had also opportunity to in Zagreb and in Rijeka 2 times. And I also learned again from Romney and from Graham. And I met some beautiful colleagues like Mito Kodera, Robert Smith, Matt East. They are now iOS instructors, and I'm delighted that I had all that opportunities.
Amazing. And it does, for me, iOS was a game changer. It shifted my whole perception of Bowen work and improved my skill so much. It was like, how did I ever do without it? And
Yes.
I can remember last year, like over the summers, there's a number of people that know I go out to these kind of 3-4 day healing festivals that take place throughout the UK in the summer months.
Oh, nice.
For me, it's basically like I move my clinic into a beautiful meadow for 4 days.
Wow. Call
So
me. Call me when you have that.
I get to be in these amazing places with lots of great people, and I just do Bowen for 3 or 4 days. And because the way we do it, it's a lot more open, so people can see a lot more. And there was a chiropractor from Belgium that for a little while he was watching from away from my stand. And I could see him a few occasions watching. And then he came and spoke to me a little bit. And then he said, "Can I come in and just watch what you do?" So I kind of gave him a demonstration of the assessment with iOS and did the treatment on the person and showed him the change and the window of symmetry that we'd achieved with that person in kind of like 15, 20 minutes. And yeah, his mind was just blown about how we could do that and see that so quickly and so effectively. So, it was, I get the passion, I get the understanding, but, and again, this is one of the exciting things, and it kind of segues nicely in about the upcoming conference in May next year. The fact that, for the first time in a very long time, we get Romney over into this part of the world. And to have one of these absolute legends in the Bowen world, who, for me at the moment, is still a bit of a mythical character. I've been trying for a while to get him to come on and do an interview with me, and he's a little shy about it. But we're hoping that we can get him to come and
I
talk ahead
hope
of the
he will,
conference.
because he really has a lot to say about Bowen uh, therapy and about the Bowen world. Yes, he was in Croatia in 2023. Had a
Ah,
Bowen in Action with Graham Pennington Bowen in Action day, when they did a treatment and showed the demonstrated how they work, and it was a charity event. It was non-profit. Everything was donated to the charity. So it's really beautiful how Romney and Graham still works in a spirit of Tom Bowen, how to be as much helpful to the community as they can. It is honor to host them again. Among all other speakers, we have really great speakers in Zagreb. We will have them. So we are all proud to have such a great list of people for our speakers.
And it absolutely is. And, I think it's a good point now to actually move over to this. So, for whatever reason, I missed the whole 2023 event, which is sad to hear. We'll definitely need to make sure that we keep an eye on what's going ahead. And like when I interviewed Graham the other day, I said this kind of needs to become an annual event, really, because it's so great to get this collection of people together. But what kind of, obviously the 2023 event was part of that, but what's kind of motivated you and inspired you? Because from what I understand from Graham, you kind of are the architect for this event coming together. So what's inspired and motivated you to do this?
It is really something which I think we all have, like Graham, Romney, and me, we all have in mind for a long time, because I think it is important to have a place where every approach to Bowen, every person who are sharing their knowledge of a different approach to Bowen therapy should be a place where they can be heard. So Zagreb and Croatia became in a way place where we are really inviting, and for any Bowen school and for any Bowen speaker. And I really respect and appreciate John Wilks' work. He was once or twice before, and recently, 1 week before, 2 weeks before our conversation, he was also in Zagreb, in Croatia. I always like to learn from him. We have also, for the first time, Anne Schubert from Australia, and I'm really happy to have opportunity to meet Anne personally. So Bowen world should be united in a way. It is great technique, and we are all teaching the same technique with different approaches, different understanding, and we can only share what someone saw that Tom Bowen was working. So we are all doing the best that we can, and the best for the technique is to if we are working together to represent how good it is and how valuable it is. Celebrating Bowen therapy is one thing. How can we start to unite? I hope.
I think that your hope is already becoming true. If there's anything that the World Summit showed earlier this year that your event is showing, and our aim here at the BTPA is that all of these approaches are valid. All of these perspectives are valid, because what one of us can see, feel, or understand might be quite different from what somebody else can see, feel, and understand. And
Absolutely.
to be able to have open conversations about that, it's just such an incredible learning opportunity that it would be a waste for us to keep that separate.
Mhm.
It's time to really be sharing the knowledge and uniting that. And, I'm really glad you're doing it. And I agree, John Wilkes's work, incredible stuff. And Schubert, who I got to interview earlier this year as well, that was such a beautiful interview for me. I really enjoyed speaking with her. Such a heart, such a wonderful person. So tell me a little bit about some of the perhaps lesser known outside of Europe and Croatia, some of the other speakers that are coming in.
So, Paula Esson, of course, and she will present her advancing knee injury work. You also know, I don't know, maybe, I'm sure you know Christos Miliankos, and he's an Australian instructor, and he's a iridologist also. So he
Mm.
will present, his work will be about how reading iris or tongue or nails could help us in understanding patient more from naturopathic view, and how to target our Bowen treatment regarding on that. We also have Alexandra Maksimovic from Serbia. She has very interesting work which will talk about fascia and about the molecules of water in fascia and how they change during Bowen treatment. So I think it will be very, very interesting to hear. And Darko Bilic, he is from Bosnia and Herzegovina, a neighbor country, and he will talk about the back pain and the Bowen technique. So I think I hope I named all the speakers. Kate Pennington and Pennington, of course, Romney
Of
Smeeton, of
course.
course, John Wilks, of course, and the rest. We will see we could have one more speaker, but we will announce it when it will be confirmed.
Right, so we'll keep that one quiet because I know who it might be. So, and it will be nice, if that person is confirmed, then we will also see if we can't get them to come in and have a chat with us as well. And I am hoping to speak with all of those presenters ahead of the conference next year and do interviews with them just so we can connect into that as well. Now, the conference itself isn't just the 2 days. So the main conference is the 23rd and the 24th of May in
Yes.
Zagreb. And so there's a number of presentations on each day. But then there's also a series of one-day masterclasses taking place in the days following that. Could you tell us a little bit about that as well, Ozana?
Yes, on Friday, on opening day, we will have Paula Esson with her workshop, advancing knee work with Bowen. Then on Friday evening is opening evening. Saturday, Sunday, full program with the speakers. On Monday, we will have Bowen in action, also a workshop with Graham Pennington and Romney Smeeton. It will be the same workshop that we had in Zagreb 2 years ago, but they will demonstrate on patient the technique, and also they will answer the questions to students, which is very interesting. That workshop is already full.
Wow.
I'm sorry. And the on Tuesday and Wednesday we will have Anne Schubert and Christos Miliankos, and they will present the working with trauma. And I think it is such a great subject, very new, and for me, very new. So I would expect a lot from that workshop also.
Fabulous. I mean, it's so, so exciting when you look at this. We're going to make sure that in the description below, we've got links into the conference website so that people can check that out. I mean, who doesn't benefit from a holiday in Croatia as well?
Yes.
So it's a great opportunity to come to a beautiful country and get to learn some amazing stuff with some amazing people.
Yes, and Zagreb is really beautiful. Who wasn't there should see it, because it is really nice touristic town, old town, and you will enjoy the being there, really.
Yeah, fabulous. So I'm also curious, one of the questions I like to ask within these interviews is just to be curious about, is there anything that you think that you wish you'd been taught earlier in your career that now is something that is a key piece of what you use to be effective in your clinic?
That's a big question. And no, I don't need in this moment. I'm really sure that everything was just like it should be. My career is really something that I was following my great excitement. So where the excitement was, I was there, and you don't need someone to tell you or something very important to hear to go, because you are somebody showed you the right way. So I have many good and bad ways during my career, but they are all very learning, very something from which I learned a lot. And I still have a patients who just want basic Bowen with the breaks from the schedule, from the notes, like I said, and they benefit from that approach. And I have, of course, patients where I use iOS, or where I use something I learned from Romney, or where I use something I learned from John. But every patient needs something special, and when you are following the stuff you are learning before, then you can create the best treatment for them. So that's the most important, to be a therapist who can listen and who can hear what these patient need. And that's the most important stuff that I learned through all my life, and that I am practicing and using today.
I love that. What a great answer. It's all part of life's rich tapestry to explore the good and the bad, the pros and the cons as we go along.
I wish I tell that in with your words. When you say with your words, it's much better than when I tell that.
Well, they were still inspired by you. So ultimately, you did. You helped to bring those through. And, as a penultimate question as well, I'm curious what you think we should be exploring in body work that is not given enough attention, and where do you think, or where do you see manual therapy such as Bowen evolving over the next decade?
They are certainly evolving. They are certainly changing the direction from what we learned at our school 30 years before. We have so much great new knowledge about what are the process in the body, and healing mechanisms that are going on. It should be better when the medicine and the people who are researchers who are doing a lot of research will understand more about how the body, the fascia, the neurological system, and uh, uh, what are the most important parts in the body that they are doing a healing. Is it the mind? Is it the body? What is going on? So I will follow what the new researchers would share. And the thing that I see that is missing, and we all know that is missing in Bowen therapy, is more researching. We should have uh, big community who are focusing on that. How is that possible? Because we don't have one head organization that can lead the community of therapists to work in that direction. So every association and every school should work for themselves, which is not so wide, I'm afraid. So I see that I can tell that we need more work on that to together make a teamwork on research, on important researches that can really make a change, because time is changing, and maybe tomorrow we will also need in Croatia more evidence, and not only in Croatia but the rest of the world. So it will not be nice if we lose our great technique, or to dismiss this great technique because of the lack of researches. It will be sad.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I'm working as hard as I can as the communications officer to try and bring as much coherence between different parts of the Bowen world as I can. And of course, the BTPA, we're open to students from every school and every version of Bowen around the world. And so we want to create that cohesion. We also believe that that unity between us all is where our real strength is. And it's time to let the old politics go and look at what all of us can offer as a collective to doing what it is that is our driving passion, which is to
Mhm.
help people do better in their lives, to bring greater health, greater stability into all of the world. So, we're right there on the same page with that, Azana, and we're going to continue to push in that direction. And I agree, where we can find ways to pool resources to encourage research in that, that would be an amazing thing.
That would be really, and I follow BTPA work and your interviews, and I learned a lot from them, from your conversations with great speakers, and I'm really want to say thank you for all the effort that you do and BTPA to unify all the therapies and therapists.
Well, thank you so much, because for me, it's an absolute honor to get to speak to all these people. It's a real treat that I get. And like you, I learn so much in those conversations. And, it really adds a richness and a value into my practice and my ethos of working as well. So I feel like I'm a real lucky person to be getting to do this right now. So I'm going to keep on doing it for as long as they let me. That's for sure.
Fantastic, fantastic, Ben.
Good. So, one final question. If people want to learn more about you and your work, where should we send them?
I have my web page of the education program that we hold in Croatia, Bowen Technique Croatia, and the web page is bowenhi.com. I missed the name for the.
Yeah, the hyphen.
Maybe you can just leave as we will have your contact on the.
We absolutely will. So we're going to stick in Ozana's school website, her personal website, and her Instagram, as well as the Zagreb conference website. And I really recommend, like, the value of what you're going to get in that weekend is just ridiculous. So go and have a fabulous holiday over in Zagreb. Go and hoover up all of that wonderful knowledge from these wonderful teachers. Make sure that when you go, you shake Ozana's hand for being a force behind bringing all of this together as well. So, because again, you also deserve thanks for the work that you're doing in, you know, improving the awareness of Bowen, not only in Croatia, but throughout Europe and now to the world. So, it's incredible stuff. Thank you, Ozana. It's been fabulous to speak to you today.
Thank you, Ben. For me also. Thank you and welcome all to Croatia.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you as well for all of you who've been listening today. Your time and attention is valued. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to these conversations. It's not that there's no point in doing them if you're not here as well, but because, as Ozana said, we all get a lot from it too in the Bowen community. But if you have enjoyed this, please hit those like and subscribe buttons down there. Share this stuff out. Help the world understand how Bowen can benefit us all. And we'll see you again soon with another one of these wonderful interviews from the Bowen Therapy Professional Association, the BTPA. This is me, Ben Calder, Ozana Pope-Gajic. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.